So let me start off by telling you what the GPT stands for in the ChatGPT. It stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Let me also say I am not an AI specialist. If you ask me very specific questions about coding or anything like that, I'm going to tell you I don't know. What I am is a 30-year leader at the YMCA, CEO here in Cincinnati, and I'm an early adopter of a lot of these kinds of technologies. I have an MBA in business and nonprofit particularly, and an emphasis in new technologies that assist or help businesses. And so that's one of the reasons why I've been actively engaged. I became aware of ChatGPT at the beginning or at the end of 2022. By this time last year, I had an account and have been an active user of ChatGPT all through 2023, and have been working with our team here locally to see what we may do to integrate it better into our system. And I think you'll get a sense of why I'm doing that here in a little bit. So our goal is to explore what GPT is, how we can use it. And for those of you that are on as CEOs, you'll get an opportunity to really think about how it can help you. I can tell you that it is an everyday tool for me at this point. We'll spend about 15 minutes learning a little bit about what it is and what it's not, thinking about the disruptions that it's going to have and that I anticipate it's going to have on business, and specifically as it relates to the YMCA. And then we'll work on some practical applications or demonstrations. And then we'll close out with some quick Q&A at the end. I will tell you that everybody that's participating on this or registered for this Zoominar, you're going to get a copy of my PowerPoint. So let me tell you what it is. You may have heard the phrase large language model. This is a very different idea than a search engine. Think about it as your own personal assistant. And I want to put that in your brain at the very beginning, because it'll help you understand what this thing can do. So if you could hire a virtual personal assistant that is extremely knowledgeable about just about anything, then that's what this is. It is not a smart search engine. It is not your replacement. I've already been asked, is this thing going to replace us? And I said no. It may allow some of your staff to multiply their capacity significantly. I estimate that the amount of time that it saves an average employee can be as high as 20%. So imagine adding 20% more full-time staff to your association or to your YMCA. That's what the capacity is for this. You can use a QR code on your screen to go to the website, or you can look at the URLs or the app on the Apple Store. Just make sure that you're looking for the ChatGPT tool, and you'll get a sense of what that will do. So what's the big deal? Why are we even talking about this? The screen you have in front of you is the amount of time it took for those platforms to reach 1 million users. Netflix took 3.5 years to do that. Twitter, 2 years. Spotify, 5 months. ChatGPT, 5 days. So before the first month of their release, they were at 1 million users. Before the end of that year, 2022, they released in October, November, they were at 100 million users worldwide. So if you're wondering why we're having this conversation, this is why we're having the conversation. And that number is growing exponentially over and over and over again. 2 months is what it took to reach 100 million users. So how is it different than a search engine? If you think about a search engine, You ask for something like, what's the best burger in town? What's the best burger in my town? The algorithm is going to calculate where you are, and will, based on that calculation, give you a list of articles and uh, rankings that somebody has made about the best burgers in your town. The ChatGPT model does not do that. It does not look for the best burger in town, although I think it will here pretty quick based on their research of the data. But what it does is it takes all of the language that humans use and all the rhythms to those languages and creates a unique response to a question based on that question. It guesses what the next word is going to be. I will tell you that the creators of ChatGPT are still not real sure how it works. But as you'll see here in a little bit, it is extremely uncanny in terms of its capacity and what it can do. Focus is on the output generation. You can see it's not the last step because it continually asks some feedback. So if you ask it to write a response to a particular email and you don't like the response, you can ask it to change it. You can ask it to try something else. You can ask it to shorten it by 40%. You can ask it to try it altogether differently and maybe even change the parameters of the original request to better understand it. Again, all of this stuff is going to make sense here in a little bit when I unpack this stuff. Now, ChatGPT has already gone through a major update, and I'm going to unpack the updates. And again, this stuff's not going to make sense to you right now, but they will when I show and demonstrate. They're allowing us to add more context to the question so that you can say you're the CEO of a YMCA, you're a YMCA in the Northwest, you're a YMCA that is helping to address the opioid epidemic in this particular city, and it will draw information based on that. It gives you more control and options. Every year or every day that it gets information, it gets smarter. So it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. It's creating new ideas. I'll demonstrate some of those, including some customizations that you can make for your own personal use. Gives you more limits, more use. And again, I'll explain that in a second. So what impact am I seeing for ChatGPT in the coming future? Well, I think it's going to change our everyday. When I told you that I use it every day, I don't mean I use it every day for one thing. I use it every day for everything. Think assistant. What would you use your assistant to do? And it's just about everything. Help me answer an email, help me aggregate information. I'll give you an example. I'm helping our local arts organization raise money from nonprofit leaders. I happen to have the names and organizations of 100 individuals from our community. I needed their emails. I could have gone and looked at all of their websites, find their names, look at their emails, and pair them up. I asked GPT to do that for me, and it did it in about 10 minutes. It looked through the internet, it found their emails, and created the spreadsheet for me. It's also going to be give us opportunities to create some game-changing opportunities. Some are conjectures on my part, but I can tell you that based on what I'm seeing in the for-profit, this stuff is coming already. I had spent some time with a university professor that runs an innovation lab. This is what we were talking about. And his comment was, this will be more transformational than the smartphone. This is going to change the way things are done, and it's going to do it very, very fast. It's going to be external facing and internal facing. Our consumers, our members will feel some of this, but our staff and what we do with our boards will also see response. It's going to impact our front desk, our back office, the services that we provide, and even our own capacities to do it. It's going to improve our capacities to do this work. Give you some examples of this. I think in the near future, we may have a chatbot that will be on a screen, and a member might come up to it and say, hey, I have a question about the pool schedule. And this individual will respond much in the way I will respond to your questions later on this Zoom. And the individual will not know, other than they're talking to a screen, that it is an artificial intelligence. It'll be that fast and that intuitive. I think a call center will soon take up all of our calls. I think this is going to change the way we do our work. I think an AI will pick up our calls, and it will not be a robot. It won't be like the stuff you use right now when you make a phone call and they say, for option A or X, press 1. For option B, press 2, and on and on and on. And you're talking to some robot. This is going to be different. It'll feel different. I encourage you to look at AI assistance models on YouTube to see what I am talking about, because you're not going to understand unless you're seeing it yourself. Virtual subject matter experts. How many of you guys struggle to look for information on Link? I think it's just a matter of time before we're going to be able to use all the content from Link, and it'll scrape the content from there. But you can already use it, as I'll demonstrate, as a subject matter expert in just about every field that we have in the YMCA. Marketing and communications, I get a lot of questions about whether this is going to change that landscape. I will tell you, it already did. It already has. Planning solutions, it actually has some strategies and strategic options that it can help you. I'll give you some example or an example of that. On the products and services, I imagine that in the near future, when a member joins the Y or a family signs up for childcare, that an AI assistant will be assigned to them, or they'll join, and any questions they have, that AI will help them. Let me give you some examples. You might have a member that joins the Y and 2 months in says, I wonder what the schedule is for X class. And they're going to speak to an app, and the app is going to go and search for them, and it's either going to text them the answer or email them the answer based on how long it takes. And that AI may actually make a phone call to a staff member and ask the question. So I'm the member. I want to know if the YMCA is going to be closed because of snow. And so I call the AI, say, hey, is this YMCA going to be closed tomorrow? Can you call them? And the AI said, sure. They're going to hang up. They're going to call the YMCA. They're going to say, hey, Jorge wants to know, he's a member of yours, if the YMCA is going to be closed tomorrow. And you're going to say, yes, it's going to be closed. It looks like we're going to have 50% snow. We're going to open a little late. Thank you very much. Data analytics, staff efficiency, social media support. I actually took some social media posts and I asked it, ChatGPT, to improve them for a link for engagement, and check to see if my use actually went up, the people that were actually reacting to the post, and the engagement and feedback and comments grew by 15 to 20%, depending on the post. So just an extraordinary device. Now, as CEOs, we're going to have to create the right environment. And in fact, I'm going to give you AI-ready principles or policies that we're going to have to get ready for initially, including, and then look at data differently, because if we're going to analyze data, sometimes we need to present data in such a way that they can actually do something with it. And security, because if we're going to use AI to support our work, I can tell you that there's going to be some nefarious activities using AI to invade our work, to look at how they might do that. Because if AI can make a phone call to see what the pool schedule is for the YMCA, and AI will pretend to be a member and ask for clarification on a credit card or or some proprietary information, and they are already able to guess or to emulate the voice of the user. So even those banks that verify your identity by your voice, they're already having to revamp all of that because the AIs are so good at creating your voice. So here's an AI use commitment or policy that we're looking at here in Cincinnati. We commit to the ethical and responsible use of artificial intelligence to support our mission and enhance our services. We ensure that all AI technologies, including data collection and analysis, are used in a manner that respects privacy, prioritizes data security, and aligns with our values, and so forth and so on. You're going to have to add something like that to your employee handbook. You're going to have to get your full-time staff to agree with this. And I can already tell you that you should not put any private information on a ChatGPT platform that you don't want everyone to see. Example, if you're doing an offer letter for an employee, you don't put the offer letter, or you don't include in the offer letter the employee's social security number. Even if you intend to passcode it when you put it in your PDF and send it as an attachment later, you don't put it on at this point. You may ask the GPT to create a placeholder for that social security information. I cover, or my daughter covers a little bit more about this in that video that I included in the link when you registered for this class. So what will it help us do? Well, it'll help us do everything inside of the circle on the left. It'll help us with our senior programs, our after-school programs, our summer camp programs, our aquatic programs, our outreach programs. It'll also help us with any of our back office functions, including creating a preventive maintenance program for our rooftop units, better contracts, creating staff performance expectations for our individuals. If you have somebody that you're just brought on and you want a 90-day onboarding plan for a youth sports director at the YMCA, this thing will create it. Or it'll create you a draft that's very, very good. It will be your assistant, your consultant, your researcher, your writer, your advisor, your analyst, your editor, your subject matter expert. As an example of that is at the end of or during our budgeting process here in Cincinnati, I uploaded them onto ChatGPT and I said, can you give me an analysis of our budget for 2024, paying close attention to trends over the last several years, and based on expectations for 2024, where should we pay our closest attention? And it created a response to that. It was a 2-page response that was remarkable. I sent it to our CFO and he said, should I start looking for another job? And I said, no, because I still need you to tell me if it's lying. So one of the things about ChatGPT is if it doesn't know an answer, it'll fake it. It functions a lot like a human being. Often when we don't have an answer, we create it. So we still need people that know how to read content and look at it and make sure that the information that it is spitting back is correct. So you can see the list on the right-hand side. It's significant and it can help you with any of these. Is there anything on that list that surprises you? And again, you can either raise your hand or speak up or put it in the chat. And I'll give you an example of those things.
Jorge, how about PowerPoints?
Excuse me?
How about PowerPoints?
So I will model how PowerPoints can be created, but this thing will create a PowerPoint. If I simply ask it to create a PowerPoint that focuses on creating stronger teams at YMCA's, it'll create a PowerPoint. If I say I need it to be 10 slides long, it'll create a 10-slide long PowerPoint. If you get asked to give a speech at a Rotary Club and you've got 15 or 20 minutes to speak to that group, you can ask the ChatGPT to create a script for you, name your YMCA, it'll scour your website, and it'll talk about your programs as if though they know everything about you. If you want to emphasize on youth sports and youth development, it'll do that as well. Now let me model it for you. All right, so the first example I'm going to give you, and I apologize that you can't see the prompt on the right, but I'm going to copy it and paste it in right here. So this is the request. You are a sports director at the Blue Ash YMCA. Create a 6-week schedule for boys youth baseball league for ages 10 to 12. There are 12 teams. I list the teams. The season starts on February 1st. Each team should play each other once. The games are on Saturday morning from 8 to 2. Only 1 hour of practice is allowed during the weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m. And then I'm going to ask it to include teams with a bye week. On the schedule. Now, before I push enter, how long would it take one of our staff members to create something like this? And so when I tell you it can save 20% of an individual's time, this is what I'm talking about. You saw how little information I gave it, and it is now creating the schedule for this team. It will also create the schedule for the practices here in a little bit, when it gets to the right week. So there they are. Now, if I asked it to draft a letter to the parents, with the information above, focus on their engagement in supporting their athletes, and ask them to work on meeting other families. So again, very little information that I have given it. And so it's going to draft a letter for me. Let me read the parent in your role, because I want you to see how it captures the very essence of the why. As parents, your support is invaluable. Not only do you provide encouragement and motivation for your young athletes, but you also play a crucial role in fostering a community spirit. We encourage you to attend games, cheer for your teams, and most importantly, engage with other families. Building connections and friendships within our YMCA community enriches the experience for everyone involved. That's what it says. How long would it take our staff members to do what I've done in about 5 minutes? Created the schedules, wrote a letter, and now I want to reach out to my Hispanic family So I'm going to ask it to create it in Spanish. And so it'll translate this letter very accurately in Spanish. What other thing could I ask it to do? So for this youth sports individual, if anybody's willing, what question could I ask it to do? Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next example. Anybody? Draft a 1-minute video script about youth sports and how they support youth development. Focus on our core values. There's actually an add-on to this, it's free, that I can actually create I can have a narrator read it and I can record it and it'll sound like a human being. It'll sound like somebody did the voiceover for the video and I'm ready to insert it into a video with pictures. But I want to read to you what it picked up. Again, you guys have seen how much information I'm given. At the YMCA, we believe in nurturing the potential of every child and teen. Youth sports are about more than just competition. They're a journey towards personal growth and development. Our programs are built on the foundation of core values, caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility. I didn't tell them what they were. These values are at the heart of everything we do. In caring, we see coaches and parents fostering a supportive environment. Honesty takes center stage as we teach athletes the importance of fair play. Respect is evidence in the way we embrace diversity and celebrate differences. And responsibility, it's about instilling a sense of ownership and discipline and self-control. At the YMCA, youth sports are more than just games. They are a platform for growth, learning, and building strong foundations for life. Join us in nurturing the potential of every child. The YMCA for a better us. Somebody asked, can you draft a social media caption to promote the program? Absolutely. So it created one. I can ask to create 3. So there they are. And again, you can adjust these. These are yours. I've already been asked a question. What about copyrights and all that stuff? All the content you are seeing is unique. They were created for the first time here. There's no other schedule for 10, 12 teams with those names. That letter is original. So you're not copywriting anything. And these posts are ours and yours to use. I was asked if I could create a 45-minute a 45-minute training for volunteer coaches. I don't know what it'll do with that little bit of directive, but sure. And there's your agenda. So when I tell you it's a subject matter expert, this is what I mean. That doesn't mean that the expertise of the leader doesn't need to be there. So I've already been asked, how did I customize it? And so I'm going to show you just in a couple of places where I've done this. Right here where it says Jorge, I actually told it a little bit about who I am. So it says customize instructions. I work at the YMCA. I'm the CEO. I like to hike. I'm a down-to-earth communicator. I use lots of word pictures and easy to understand analogies. I'm deeply committed to the idea that in environments where individuals reach goals, make friends, and find a sense of belonging, that they grow. Somewhere between formal and casual, short and sweet is better. I use my first name. ChatGPT should try to remain neutral. And you can see that I've only used a small amount of the descriptors that I get allowed here. Instead of the 1,500 words, I'm only using 300 and 150. One of the questions I ask is, do we, and I saw the question that popped up, do I use the paid version? This is the paid version. It's $20 a month. But I will tell you, I just did $250 worth of work. So pay the $250. Here in Cincinnati, I'm giving a green light to all of our exempt employees if they want ChatGPT to go ahead and start using it and become familiar with it. You notice up here on the left-hand corner, I've created a couple of tools. You can actually create your own tools or your own GPTs. So I'm going to use my HR coach here. If I can. I created an HR coach for me, and it's basically an HR coach to clarify questions and vague inquiries. An HR coach is designed to offer brief, concise suggestions in the realm of human resources and leadership coaching. It's succinct. And so I can ask this GPT in particular any questions that I might have related to HR. I have 2 employees that don't get along. How might I lead them? And it'll give you a step-by-step. Here's what you probably should do. So even if you're coaching somebody, let's say you're helping somebody and they come to you with this question, you can say, why don't we meet about it? Ask GPT, adjust it so that it's your content. Maybe you don't need 7 things. Maybe you just need 3 things. But maybe there's likely a couple of things in here that you say, gosh, I never thought about that one. Maybe I should use that one. Let me move on to the next sample, and then I'm going to open it up for some questions or other examples. This is for the CEOs. You are the CEO of a YMCA in Illinois. You want to increase board participation in the areas of donation, volunteering, and meeting attendance. There are 12 active and 4 inactive members. The goal is to get 100% donation, 75% involvement in volunteer activities, 75% in attendance. You want a 12-month strategy that could be implemented by the governance committee and the CEO. Your plan should include specific tasks for the CEO the board members, and the 3 members of the governance committee. And here it is. CEO and the board chair are going to conduct one-on-one meetings with board members to understand the barriers to participation, analyze current engagement data, and then you go on to engagement motivation, implementation, and monitoring. And the continuous tasks of the CEO includes maintaining open communications and regular updates. I was asked earlier about PowerPoints. I'm going to ask it to create a PowerPoint. I have not taught my GPT to use brand compliant stuff, so I will tell you that it's not going to be brand compliant, but it is going to Outlook, and Microsoft has already created some plugins for this, and those plugins continue to get added new every day. And so it is creating a slide deck with the information that it has created related to board engagement. And I can download it right here. There it is. I can download this into PowerPoint, change the background so that it's brand compliant, and I'm done. You can use tools like this to create, to review your board minutes and simplify them. If your board minutes are 2 pages long and you want to get it down to 1 page without disrupting the primary discussions or the votes that were taken, you can do that. And this tool will do all of that and more, a lot more. In fact, I can't encourage you enough to teach your team. One of the challenges that we're seeing in terms of integration, and which is why we're actually looking for and are hoping to hire a part-time AI integration specialist on our team, is the staff have a really hard time understanding how computer works. We're not a computer savvy culture. And so you don't need to know how to code, but you do need to know how code works so that you can load, or you can understand how to shape it differently. So if you're not getting what you're looking for, you know what to say next, so that it is creating the kind of prompt or response that you're looking for. I got a couple of questions that have popped up. One of them is, I don't believe ChatGPT can be added to Excel. ChatGPT is not something you add to Excel, at least not yet. I think it's coming, but rather in reverse. You can ask ChatGPT to take a look at an Excel spreadsheet and extrapolate data that you're looking for and create a new Excel spreadsheet that you can download, or you can put data in here, a lot of data. Remember, I told you that there was more capacity. You can put entire chapters of books and ask for summaries of those chapters of books here. I've been asked the question: can you upload a document and have it use the content from the document to create a PowerPoint? The answer is yes. You can upload an article and it can create a PowerPoint based on the key points of that article. I would upload the article, ask it to create a summary, and then ask it so that it's getting you what you're looking for, and then ask it to create a PowerPoint afterwards. How would you ask to revise one of the letters or or presentation you create it for us. Let me see. I don't know if I can ask it to revise a PowerPoint. I think I would have to do that directly, but let me see if I can find a document. This is a newsletter that we get from Ohio. So I'm going to download that newsletter. Sure. And I'm going to say, summarize this newsletter. So it's reading. And that's what that's what the newsletter is about. So I don't even have to read the newsletter. It just gave me the summary of that. I don't know if it could change that newsletter yet, but I think it's just a matter of time before I can download a newsletter and ask it to create a new version for another state. Swapping this information for that information, or it could create an article. For those of you that have a hard time creating stories of your YMCA, you can ask GPT to create So it's going to create a story based on that very basic little information I've given. And I can continue to adjust it. For example, it gave him a name. Remember I told you it makes things up. It gave it a name, but I can actually have the name of the individual, and I can change this to a girl. I can change it to basketball. I can ask it to make it one paragraph so that I could put it in a newsletter. I can ask it to create an article about youth sports or aquatic safety around water and use this story to anchor that article about the benefits of swimming by the YMCA. And it could do it in Spanish and any other language you need it to be. So let me pause here. We have about 9 more minutes and see if there's any questions that you may have. I'm going to keep the GPT open in case you have another thing you want me to model out, but I'm open to any questions.
Jorge, there's a question here from Tim about how did you get it to do your board minutes and how do you get it to record meetings when you're not there?
It's a good question. So I don't use GPT for that. I actually if you look at when you came on, you saw a Read AI presence in the registration. You actually see it somewhere. That Read AI has participated in all of the Zoominars I've done so far, and it will record and give me a summary of those meetings. I'm actually looking for one for you to look at. If I'm unable to attend a meeting, I was not able to attend a meeting earlier today. I think it was today, where we were talking to we were talking about advocacy in Kentucky. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, talking with our lobbyists, getting an update from our lobbyists.
Because I was unable to attend and my AI was allowed to participate, it actually took minutes for me, even though I did not attend that meeting. But here is a sample of the last ChatGPT meeting, and you can see that there are recaps. I want to actually read the transcript. I can read the transcript as well. The point that I'm making with this is AI is here. It's going to invade just about every area of our work. And ChatGPT is just one of those examples. And I think to the extent that we can participate or get engaged with, the better. And, I think that in the near future, we might be onboarding staff by saying, welcome to the YMCA. This AI here has been assigned to you. He'll walk you through, or she'll walk you through the next 90 days, talk to you about the things you need to know. And if you have any questions about any of the things that you're working on, just ask it. And either A, it'll answer it for you, or B, it'll get you the answer that you're looking for. And that AI may be that AI that follows that individual all the way through their career. But that's what I wanted to share. I did want to say I plan on inviting those that have participated in this to possibly join an AI cohort. I'm working with our national office to see if they'd be interested in supporting an AI integration effort. Because I think it's just a matter of time before you'll find ChatGPT links to our Daxco, to all of our other platforms, and it will help transform some of the work. If you don't know where to start with the free GPT and start using it. I would encourage you to start trying to use it on a regular basis with things like, can you help me respond to this email? Or ask it to create something that you're stuck with. There are some warnings to this tool. It's still it's all only in its second year, but I am excited about what this means. My interest here has to do with the quality of the impact that we want to make in the lives of people. And I believe that this tool can help us do that better at this point than anything we have either in most of our YMCAs or in the national office. For those of you that are interested, you can actually upload the specs of a particular program. Like if you have a youth sports program and you have a certain commitment to a particular set of things, you can actually upload it, create a youth sports specialist for just your YMCA. And you can say, make sure that you're drawing your parameters based on these functions, because we're going to be emphasizing healthy living or the 4 core values or whatever it is that you're doing. It can customize its response based on your focus. Thank you so very much for joining me. I'm excited about what this can do for us. That's all I have. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.